Hey guys, this is Magda. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. So today I am building in the world of Newcrest. This family home has a total of 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms. Originally, what I had in mind was this house was probably going to be for a single mom and 2 kids. But as I start building the house, you guys will see that I play around with the colors. Originally, the house was pink, and I don't know, I feel like I wasn't really liking the concept or the storyline of a mother and her 2 kids. So, what I ended up doing is making it for grandparents and 2 kids. So, I imagine the Sims that live here are a couple and their, grandparents, and they have their two grandchildren, and that permanently live with them. So, I did make 2 bedrooms, and I imagine the kids are probably like preteens is what I kind of made it for. Maybe they're twins, but it is a boy and a girl bedroom. Of course, you guys can play around with the storyline, but I feel like it would be a neat idea to kind of play along that field. And I used a lot of the cottage living pack, and I really did not create much of a backyard. What I really liked that I did in this house is I kind of do like a wraparound porch towards the back, and in the middle is like the covered area. We see a lot of those types of like porches and stuff down here in the south where there's like a screen and you can kind of have like, breakfast, or you can sit there on the porch, and I also add the washer and the dryer there as well. So I really like that idea, and I really didn't create the backyard because there's space in between the house and like past what I can build on past those border lines. So I imagine that's probably like their property as well, and they use that, as a backyard too. So here I go playing around with the colors, and I did like the pink, but I feel like it was just too, it just reminded me of ice cream because it was like vanilla, like white, and then brown and pink. So I ended up switching the colors. I think the only thing that I do switch is the pink. I switched out for blue, and I do keep those windows in like the stone on the top of, or the front of the house. And I do end up extending the left side of that brick. So that kind of has the pop out, more of a pop out, because I end up creating the living room there. And I do play around with the landscaping. I really like the hill that I placed on in front of the house. I feel like I really don't do much of, I don't really use those tools much. I feel like it definitely can create, I don't know, make the house look a bit more realistic. So I'm gonna be trying to use that more in my future builds. And also, another thing that I did when I came to the floor plan, I was kind of struggling a little bit. I cut it out, but what I did here differently, which I feel like I'm going to start doing in my future builds as well, I started with the plan on the second floor just because it's a bit harder. So what I had in mind is like, okay, what would be the ideal floor plan on the second floor? Because I knew I needed to squeeze in at least 2 bedrooms up there. So what I ended up doing is doing this the second floor, added the 2 bedrooms in the bathroom, and then after I added the stairs, and then when I went back downstairs, I actually kind of created the floor plan around the stairs, and it was a lot easier. I don't know why I haven't done about that earlier, but I really like how the floor plan came out. I feel like the bottom is very spacious. I was actually concerned that I wasn't going to fit the grandparents' bedroom down there because I really wanted them to have an ensuite. But I do manage to fit all of that in there. One thing that I did not include is an office, which I feel like would be okay because keeping in mind that these are, probably grandparents, they're probably not as tech savvy. They probably don't use the computer. Maybe they're retired. So they really don't have, reason to actually have an office. So I just included a computer in the boys' room. I imagine maybe, he needs it more for school, and I just felt like it would be appropriate. Normally, I don't add computers in the kids' rooms because I feel like in real life I wouldn't, I would feel kind of iffy about doing that in real life in the kids' bedroom. But it's The Sims, so anything goes. And here I go, going on to the living room now. I really like that chimney. I want to say that came with what's that new pack? Not Get Together, Growing Together. So I kind of struggled with the living room as far as coming up with maybe like a theme. I kind of wanted to make it look very lived in and cluttered and have like, antique stuff, maybe like passed down furniture. And I was playing around with the wallpapers, and I feel like I normally don't use this leaf one, which is really pretty. So once I placed that there, it just kind of clicked and everything else just kind of fell along with it. So I used a lot of like greens throughout the house. Most of the wallpaper, I want to say, is like has some type of green to it. And the living room came out pretty good after that. I'm really pleased with overall how it turned out. I used those owls that came with growing together as well. I always mix get together and growing together. Anyways, um, and I just add some picture frames. I used a lot of the cats and dog stuff as well. I feel like it kind of went along with the theme. And I want to say I just clutter up. I add bookshelves against those other walls. So there's those two bookshelves, and then there's also one upstairs in the boys' bedroom, which will probably be blocked because I put the desk right in front of it. But I also have another one, I believe, in never mind, I don't. It's just those three, I think. But yeah, so the living room came out pretty decent and keep the entryway pretty simple. I just add that table, a mirror, and I want to say the coat rack and the umbrella rack as well. I want to apologize if you guys hear the lawnmower. Right now, as I'm recording, my neighbor is cutting his yard. So if you hear a noise, that's what that is in the background. But anyways, I wanted to keep the entryway kind of simple just because of the wallpaper and like the living room. It's just very cluttered. I didn't want to over clutter the entryway. So I want to say I just add a rug and just a couple of items and I move here into the dining room. The dining room came out pretty good as well. I ended up turning off the overhead light right there because it was just like very bright. It was making that other back wall very bright and I didn't like it. So I ended up turning it off. And here is when before I start actually working on the kitchen, I always like to add a back door towards the kitchen, especially when making like these big houses. Um, just because I imagine the Sim usually maybe uses that door to kind of go out and throw the trash away. And it's just easy access to the backyard. So before I actually start working in the kitchen, I make sure that the porch that I had in mind was going to work out. So I was very pleased with how it came out, especially using those new windows for the greenhouse. I feel like it's perfect because of the screening. So like you're outside, but technically you're still in like a covered area. So I used those cabinets that came with cottage living. I was gonna try to change them to white, but oh, I really like the green color because I feel like it fit overall the whole color scheme that I was going with throughout the whole house. I feel like the stem here, maybe it's the grandma that just really likes green. And I really like how the kitchen came out. It was kind of small. Well, I thought it was going to be kind of small when I first started working on it, but I managed to fit everything very nicely. I always like to add like a little triangle effect when it comes to like the fridge, kitchen, well, not kitchen, sink, and stove. In this case, there's no little triangle, but I don't know. I feel like it came out really good. And I normally don't use those tiles that I placed there, but I feel like maybe this house, like I was thinking it was, a house that was brought down through generations, and they've kind of updated little things every now and then, like the tile, the backsplash, maybe adding new paint, new flooring throughout the house. But those kitchen towels have been, very durable and they just stayed throughout the years. So here I just clutter up the little cabinet, china cabinet. I really didn't know what to put here. I feel like it kind of looked awkward with the stuff that I was placing here because I was thinking of the sim like maybe like the grandma likes a lot of like different type of stuff like collecting things. But I don't know. It was weird. So I just placed little random objects at the top there. And I want to say that's it for the kitchen. I just add a shelf on top of the stove. I size it down because it's a little too big. And I want to say I put like the little containers, the spices containers, on top of it. And I add a rug. And I want to say that's all for the kitchen. So here soon, I will be moving on to the grandparents' bedroom. And something happened as I was making the grandparents' room where it stopped recording the game. And luckily, I noticed right as I was finishing up the bedroom. So I didn't really get too far into the build when I stopped and I deleted it and just redid it on camera. And it wasn't really much that I added, thankfully, because I keep the bedroom pretty simple. I feel like it's just enough space for that bed. I do add those two nightstands, and I also add the dresser that came from cottage living. I feel like it went really good with the overall scheme and the colors that I had going out throughout the house. So something else that I add here that I really enjoyed was that door to the back patio. I normally don't do that. I normally just add the door to the living room and like the kitchen onto the back patio. But I feel like it would have been a good idea here just because I imagine the Sims, the grandparents will probably sit out here and just enjoy nature, reading a book at night or something right before bed. And also, it would be an easy way because the washer and dryer are back there just to have easy access to it. And adding the bathroom here, I was actually really pleased with how it came out. I feel like I used a lot of face game and I also add those robes. And I want to say I used those masks that came with that new kit. And I want to say that's all I add in this bathroom. So I do move on here onto the half bath, which is for mainly guests. So I really didn't clutter it much. I used the same tile that I used in this bathroom, and I want to say I use it in the kids' bathroom as well, just to kind of keep it all cohesive. And I want to say I just add like a rug and a plant here. Not much to it, it's very simple. And I do add the little mail envelope holder, I want to say, that came with one of the kits. I want to say I add that in the hallway because originally I had it near the door. But I feel like it just looked better there in this little hallway because I really didn't have much in that little area. So I do start working on the kids' bedroom here shortly. And what I had in mind for the kids' bedroom, I actually was thinking maybe the kids have been living here with grandparents for a while. Maybe they've been raising them. Maybe the circumstance, for some reason, they're not able to be with their biological parents. So you can kind of play with that story, and I do end up cluttering it up a lot just because I imagine them, living here for all of their lives. And for the girls' bedroom, I actually like that kind of mixing the styles. So adding like the green bed and the pink wallpaper. Maybe her and her grandma have like a hobby of like creating quilts or like knitting or something. Because I also add those cool curtains. I forget what pack. I want to say it was the high school. Not sure, but I had that idea of just, maybe that was one of their hobbies because I also add like the box of the yarn and stuff downstairs in the living room. So I imagine that's a hobby that they both enjoy together. And here for the dresser, I kind of had a hard time deciding what to put here just because I wasn't able to put a mirror on top of the dresser because of that window placement there. And I end up adding the big mirror that I want to say came with that basement kit stuff, which I thought was really cool. Maybe the grandma was going to throw the mirror away. Maybe it was like rusting and she just didn't like it. And the grandchild ended up, saving it and she just really enjoyed like the style, how it looked, and she needed a mirror. So she ended up keeping it. So that was my idea behind that. That's a really pretty mirror. I feel like I'll find myself using that in a lot of my builds. And I just add some lighting here And I always forget to add a laundry basket until like towards the end of the builds, but I did manage to add one here. I also add one in the bathroom, in their bathroom, and also in the kids' bathroom. So there's plenty of laundry baskets. But I just end up adding just the last clutter items here in the girls' bedroom, and I want to say I move on to the boys' bedroom here soon. So originally, what I was gonna go for is like a blue theme bedroom. I imagine that the child living here is very into sports, very athletic, and I went off by that bed, I want to say, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like since I placed the computer here, I feel like the grandparents trust the child in this bedroom. They're very mature for their age. I don't know. I feel like the blue was just giving, I don't know, too, it was just too childish, I guess you could say. I wanted it to be more of a mature bedroom, so I still go for the sports theme, but I end up switching out the bed and adding the red wallpaper instead. And I really like the idea of just having this in here. Maybe he's really into sports, maybe he's already looking into college, like scholarships, and just really enjoys playing sports overall. I feel like that was the main theme in this bedroom. So I don't really add much besides those not the wallpapers, the posters, the athletics posters. And something that I like to do also is add in like the stuffed animals every now and then, like on the bed or on the couches. I don't know. I feel like it just gives it a little bit more personality in certain bedrooms. So now I'll move on into the kids' bathroom technically, and I went a little bit I wouldn't say crazy with it, but I just think like maybe the teen girl is a little bit more on the messier side, so that's why I add the wrinkled up towels there. And I really like the idea too of that cabinet on top of the counter. I sized it down and I really like how it looked. So I just cluttered up the items, more clutter items there on the counter, and just leave it at that. I want to say add the laundry basket, and that's pretty much it. I move on to the actual hallway upstairs, which actually turned out really small. So I don't really add much there. I don't even add curtains, I don't think, because I felt like it was going to make it just look too smaller. So I just add that picture frame, and I do add a rug off camera as well. So now I move on to the outside, which will probably be my favorite part of the house, that back porch. So originally, when I made the screening, I already knew that that's where the washer and dryer were going to go, just because I feel like it's really realistic. I actually lived in a house where we had the washer and dryer out like that too. So I feel like you see that a lot. So I really, really like that. But yeah, so I just add like a sitting area, a little table, and I add a couple of plants. I also add a shelf on top of the washer and dryer, the one that came from the laundry day pack. And I also size up like a regular shelf and kind of add it as like a counter on top of the washer and dryer. I feel like maybe like the grandpa made that just to have some more counter space on top of the area. And I also add the trash can there outside of the door to the kitchen. I feel like that's a very, very convenient spot because even like if it's raining or something, you can still throw out the trash without getting wet. But yes, so I also like this bigger porch area, so I added a table and that barbecue grill, and I want to say I just add a couple plants. I want to say that is all that I add on in this area. I really like how it turned out. But yeah, so I just add a little bit more of landscaping, and I want to say we're coming here shortly to the screenshots. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys have any comments or suggestions down below. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye!
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow. washed out by the rain. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit, there's a new day to leave behind your troubles. There's a new day, and it will say